Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Huddle Hub podcast. My name is Metal Mike, and I'm joined here, as always, with the Candyman, the Pickmaster himself, Mr. Johnny H. John. How you doing on this wonderful Tuesday football? Oh my gosh, football Tuesday. Thank you.
Oh, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great.
He's
Such
doing
a fun wild card weekend, man. Such a fun weekend.
He's doing great because of this. It didn't last long. Didn't last long.
Great because the 49ers beat the Eagles, and now they're going to Seattle. That's why I'm great. Getting every single wild card game right is just icing on top. But it was an easy week to pick.
I wave my flag proudly. I wave the flag proudly. I'm okay. I'm okay with it.
You're waving your flag. You surrender.
Well, John Reed took the lead in the pick challenge. He's up 3 games now.
6 on wild card weekend. 6 for 6.
And I went 2 and 4. rough week. But there's 7 games left, and I'm down 3. So if the math's right, I could still come back. But
it pretty much means you need to be spot on this week with your picks.
Kinda, or at least win 3
left. And then there's 1 game left.
Yeah.
This
4.
This is your do or die week, buddy.
I need to win at least 2 this week, and then I got to sweep next week to bring it down to Super Bowl Sunday. So
yeah, it'd be wild if it ended in a tie.
It would be very wild. It would be, but we'll find out. We're going to get into Wild Card Weekend. We're going to get into everything. Wild Card Weekend. We're going to get into the college football semifinals. We're going to recap that. We're going to get ready for the national championship coming up on Monday. We also got the Huddies tonight. Tonight is the night that we do the Huddies. The first annual Huddle Hub Awards. The first annual Huddle Hub. First annual Huddle Hub. The first annual Huddle Hub Awards. They are here, and we are going to have them for you. That is how we cap off the show tonight, is with the Huddies. Before we get into it, please make sure you're heading over to the Huddle Hub Podcast over on social media, on X and TikTok at the Huddle Hub Pod. You're going to hit the follow button. On YouTube, you're going to hit the subscribe button. That's how you follow on YouTube. It is totally free. And in the bio on the Twitch channel is all the links to every social media. Not everybody uses every social media. I get it. You have people that say, I don't use X. And that I believe. But when it comes to TikTok, I don't believe that. I'm sorry. Everybody's on TikTok nowadays. Even if you don't use your account, you're still on there. That's that. Just hit the follow button. It would be greatly appreciated and help us build the Huddle Hub podcast going through the rest of the NFL playoffs and beyond. So, John, we had some breaking news come down. The first thing we need to talk about, and that is head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin, has officially stepped down as the head coach out in Pittsburgh. This coming out at about 3 o'clock this afternoon. Huge news. 19 seasons out in Pittsburgh. His record, 193 wins, 114 losses, 2 ties, and in the playoffs, he was 8-12, John. 2 Super Bowl appearances, Super Bowl 43 win over the Cardinals, Super Bowl 45 loss to the Packers. In his playoff appearances, John, 8-12 in the playoffs, okay? His last 7 playoff games, he lost, and that started off back in 2016 in the conference championship game against the Patriots. He lost. And then in 2017, lost to the Jaguars in the division, or no, he must have won a wild card game in 2017 because it's been since 2017 that he's won. But anyways, 2017 lost to the Jaguars in the divisional round, Browns in the wild card round in 2020, 2021 the Chiefs in the wild card round, Bills in 23, Ravens in 24, Texans in 2025 in the wild card round. So Mike Tomlin out in Pittsburgh, and now that puts us with 9 teams that need a head coach, John. So the question lies now is what's next for Pittsburgh and what's next for Mike Tomlin? Because he has 1 year left technically on his contract out in Pittsburgh. So your thoughts?
I don't think he coaches this year. I think he takes the year off and then decides what he could do. I could see him just be done coaching, period. I could see that. I mean, he has what, two Super Bowls already? You
Well,
know, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He has nothing left to prove.
he's appeared twice, but he's won one. He won one in his second year in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's true. That's
That's
true.
it. Since then, he hasn't been to the Super Bowl. He came close when they played the Patriots in the conference championship in 2016, but that's it. Like, it's just been a downhill spiral in a sense when it comes to the playoffs for this team, which is crazy.
Yeah, he won with the majority of Bill Cowher's team, and that's not taking anything away from him because Tony Dungy did the same thing.
Yeah.
So doesn't mean you're not a great coach. This means your team was already built for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I call them the Pittsburgh Cowboys because they've been one and done for so long, and it's like I want to see now what Pittsburgh does. I want to see how they do next year. Maybe they actually win a playoff game.
The response.
And they're not one and done.
Yeah.
No, but the biggest thing that I find interesting about this, Ravens, new coach, Browns, new coach, Steelers, new coach.
Yes.
The Bengals are the only team in the North that retain their head coach.
I'll say this. I think that if Zach doesn't do well in Cincinnati in 2026, I think he's going to be out, which means, we'll have a whole new set of head coaches minus him in 2026. But if he doesn't do well, if he doesn't get the Bengals to at least the postseason, I'm talking just even a wild card spot, doesn't have to win the division, he's done in Cincinnati.
Burrow going to stay healthy, though? Like, this team rises and falls on Joe Burrow's shoulders.
They do.
And they proved that the last 2 years. When he wasn't there, they were falling. When he came back, they were rising. It was just too late.
John, you know me. I'm very big on statistics and looking things up as far as history of what teams do, what coaches do, what players do, who they face, the history they have with franchises in a whole. And just looking at their playoff history alone, starting back in 2007 when Mike Tomlin came along, like they made the playoffs in his first year there. They lost to the Jaguars in the wild card round. They lost to the Jaguars in the wild card round in 2007. They lost to them in the divisional round in 2017. Okay. Against the Broncos in 2011, wild card round. In 2015, wild card round. Against the Ravens in 2014 and 2024, they lost in the wild card round too. Patriots conference title game in 2016. The Texans, the wild card round in 2025. The Chiefs in 2021 in the wild card round. So yes, you can say that Mike Tom, like these teams have, different coaches come in, different schemes come in, different players come in, all that stuff. But at the same time, there are times to where you have a new offensive coordinator or a new defensive coordinator come in, might change the scheme up slightly, but not completely, to therefore knowing if you're going into a game against a team you faced even a year ago, you should be a little bit familiar with them. And the familiarities that Mike Tomlin has had against a few of these teams in the postseason and still couldn't go out and get the job done is just kind of baffling to think about. It is.
The thing there is great, but when you get there, go somewhere.
Yeah.
People don't want to be like, oh, hey, at least we got there. Oh, hey, at least we got there. We made it. We made it. We made it. Do something. Go somewhere. Stop being one and done.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd really like to hear Cam's take on this because he's a Steeler fan.
Well, I'm sure Cam will get into it on Sunday, on the Sunday edition of the Huddle Hub podcast, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here. As we will talk about this with him being a Steelers fan, we will get his take. So that will be happening on Sunday on the Sunday show. I already have that planned to kind of give him the floor a little bit, give him some time to talk about this, seeing that it is his personal team. And I'm sure he's going to have some words, just like I have a few words. If you don't mind, I have a few words to kind of close out the season for Philadelphia as a fan. So if that's cool, it would be greatly appreciated as we get into talking about Wildcard Weekend. But yeah, I'm going to give Cam the floor on Sunday to talk more about Mike Tomlin, as he is a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's get into Wild Card Weekend, John. Crazy Wild Card Weekend. And as I always ask you, John, I know you're a very busy man these past few weeks, with starting a new job and everything like that. What games have you been able to focus on? What games caught your eye this past weekend?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I was only able to watch a couple games. I saw part of the Rams and Panthers game. I was able to watch the 49ers and Eagles Monday morning, and I caught the Bills and Jaguars, and I caught part of the Texans and Steelers. But I think the biggest surprise of the weekend for me was I expected the Rams to beat the Panthers, but I didn't expect the Rams to beat the Panthers by 3 points. I thought they were going to come in there and just romp them. So hats off to the Panthers for keeping up. And you know what? It earned Bryce Young his 5th year. I think they're going to do his
Yep. They're
his
doing his 5th year.
option.
Yep.
So, and well deserved. I mean, he turned his career around. That benching was the best thing that happened to him.
Yeah, his statistics, his record has gone up phenomenally since being benched in week. I think it was like 7 or 8 last year. So he's really turned things around in that short period of time. And yeah, like I said it on the Saturday show last week, who cares that the Panthers are going into the playoffs 8-9? This is the playoffs. This is a totally different season. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, the Rams are going to go out there and stomp the crap out of the Panthers."
I mean, I was one of them.
And I was one to say, don't underestimate this Panther team, because they might surprise and shock you. And they almost did. They were close. They were close to it. I was able to watch the Panthers game in its entirety. I was able to watch the Bears Packers in its entirety, Bills Jaguars, 49ers Eagles, and I watched the Steelers and Texans up until the Sheldon Rankin fumble recovery for a touchdown. Then I just turned it off. I was like, this game's over at this point. I'm not going to watch the rest of this.
I flipped off that game after the Texans scored their first touchdown. I was like, oh yeah, they're done. It's over. But I had no faith in the Steelers in the playoffs at all this year.
But I do. This is the part where I say I kind of want to have a little bit of a send off. Actually, I'll wait until we get into the news segment. But I do want to play a clip of something that happened at the 49ers game, because I'm going to say this right now. San Francisco, for what they have done this season, for the injuries that they have had to overcome, for the roster change, continuous roster change, Brock Purdy being out the first couple weeks, and then coming back, and then almost being out again, but being able to stay on the field. Mac Jones coming in and taking over and keeping them above water, playing for the number 1 seed in week 18. Yeah, fell short, but you still went into the playoffs. You went into the defending Super Bowl champion's house and you took a win. Hats off to San Francisco for doing what they did this season, because there's a lot of teams that would not have been able to do what they were able to do. And I want to play a clip real quick. This is a Brock Purdy at his press conference, and of a play that really impressed me.
And then I look back, I see JJ get hit, and I was like, dang, dude, should I have done something about that?
Bruh.
And then I look up, and the ball's in the air, and Christian tracked it. It was wobbling in the wind. I was like, oh, my gosh. And I look back to JJ, and I was like, you all right? And then celebrated. So it was really – and then I look back, I see JJ get hit.
The impressiveness of that play alone. I said this to you, John, that I didn't think either team had the full grasp of momentum in this game. But there were certain points and certain plays to where San Francisco, you can tell they were trying to grab it. And I said it in the fourth quarter. I said, whoever scores last and makes a big stop first is going to win this ball game. San Francisco did both. And hats off to the 49ers again for coming in to Philadelphia and sending the defending champions home early. And I'm going to say this right now. I am hoping that San Francisco is raising that Lombardi trophy in their stadium come Super Bowl Sunday. Simple. And say that. One more interaction, and then we're going to move on.
So satisfied for Kyle Shanahan.
Good job.
As Nick Sirianni said to Coach Shanahan, congratulations, go win it all. Now, I posted something on social media this morning. I commented on a post this morning saying, because there was a Denver Broncos fan who said to the Eagles, Panthers, any team that lost this weekend, if you need a team to root for moving forward, you can come help us, root us on. And I said, I'm rooting on the 49ers the rest of the way. I'm an Eagles fan, but I'm rooting on the 49ers. And somebody decided to comment and say, you can't root on the team that eliminated you. And I said to them, that's your rule. That's your rule, and that's what you do. But my best friend is a 49ers fan. And he roots for my team when his team is down. I root for his team I root for his team when my team is down. He roots for my team when his team is down, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to root for the 49ers the rest of the way out. And I don't care what anybody says. You can sit there and say, oh, you don't root for the team that eliminated. I'm going to. And that's that. So go Niners the rest of the way. So as if for Wild Card Weekend, though, John, we got a divisional round weekend coming up, as we are going to cover that on the Saturday edition of the Huddle Hub podcast, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time this Saturday with myself, and then Sunday with Cam at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Real quick, John, there was an interaction that came out of Wild Card Weekend. I don't know if you've seen this yet, but you know how the media can kind of pick at some coaches and players about things to try and bring a negative light to things?
Oh, yeah, they do that all the time. That's the media's job, is to stir the pot.
Well, there was a beautiful interaction between Liam Cohen, head coach of the Jaguars, and a reporter from Jacksonville. And check this out. This is beautiful.
I want to tell you, congratulations on your success, young man.
Thank
you.
you.
Hold your head up, all right? You guys have had a most magnificent season.
Thank
And you did a great job out there today.
Appreciate
so you
it.
just hold your head up, okay?
Thank
and
you,
ladies
ma'am.
and gentlemen, Duval, you the one, all
Thank
right?
you, ma'am.
keep it going. We got another season, okay?
I appreciate
Take
it.
care and much continued success to you and the entire team.
Thank you, ma'am.
The positivity from a reporter to a coach that just lost a big game, big ball game. There's got to be more of that. Like, she's just a reporter doing her job. And I guarantee Liam Cohen was probably caught off guard to the fact, because he's not used, any coach is used to that interaction.
You could see him smiling the whole time. Like, he appreciated that
Definitely.
interaction. I mean, the biggest takeaway I got from the Jacksonville Jaguars this season, I feel like Trevor Lawrence finally took that next step that people have been waiting for him to take. And I want to see if he continues next season and how he plays.
Yeah. Hopefully he can, because we've sat here and really we have had our doubts with Trevor Lawrence on this show.
Called him a bust many years, but this year, man, he easily his best year. Easily.
I mean, you look at the guy's statistics, and it's like the improvement that he's had this year.
Yeah, he took that step forward that everybody's been waiting to see.
He
He
sure
looked
did.
like a number 1 overall pick this year.
Yeah. So, but John, that's it for Wild Card Weekend. We do have the divisional round playoffs coming up Saturday. Buffalo takes on Denver at 4:30, and San Francisco takes on Seattle at 8:00 at night. And then on Sunday, the Houston Texans take on the New England Patriots at 3:30, and the Los Angeles Rams and Chicago Bears close things out at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. We will cover more of the divisional round this weekend here on the Huddle Hub podcast. John, let's get into the news of things going on around the world of football, starting off with Greg Roman, offensive coordinator of the Chargers. He has been fired after 2 seasons. So another offensive coordinator is on the market. Another offensive coordinator. Speaking of offensive coordinators, Philly fans, the wish has come true. We've been calling for it. We've been asking for it. Kevin Patullo, offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles, has been fired. Now, Jalen Hurts, he did an interview in the locker room. And John, there's been a lot of chatter, and this is the part where I want to kind of close my season out with the Philadelphia Eagles. There was an interview done with Jalen Hurts in the locker room, and this is what was asked, and I'm going to respond to this after we hear this.
Opportunity to have that with Kevin Patullo. Do you want him to come back as the offensive coordinator?
It's too soon to think about that. And like I said, I put my trust in Howie, Nick, and Mr. Leary.
What about AJ Brown? Would you like AJ?
AJ and I talk. We're in a great place.
Opportunity to have that with Kevin Patullo.
Okay, so for number one, the response to the Kevin Patullo question, number one, it's not my place. We trust in Howie. It's too soon to talk about this. Okay, but then they go to A.J. Brown, the player that a lot of people have been saying, Philly needs to get rid of him. Philly needs to release him. Philly needs to trade him. Philly needs to get rid of him. There's too much drama. There's too much bullshit happening with A.J. Brown.
I don't think they're wrong, though, when they say that, though. The dude's a diva.
So here's my perspective is Kevin Patullo came in and he totally changed up the way this offense did things this year. If you notice, Saquon Barkley did not reach 1,000 yards rushing until like week 14 or week 15 this year. He was at 1,000 yards rushing before week 10 last year. Okay. Took the ball out of Saquon's hands this season. Took the ball out of A.J. Brown's hands for 3/4 of this season. And yes, A.J. Brown, he dropped a few passes in that game against San Francisco. No excuses. Not going to make them. Why? Because we lost, and that's that. Move on. I can now enjoy the playoffs as just a fan of football, opposed to having to stress out whether my team is going to move forward or not. Does that suck? Yeah. But the better team won on Sunday, and that was San Francisco. Kevin Patullo is now gone. The A.J. Brown situation, the one thing that I get tired of hearing is if one little incident happens, get rid of this guy, fire him, trade him, release him, do this, do that. This isn't like the old days of football where if a guy has a bad year, the team gives the guy the opportunity to come back and, redeem himself. It's fans nowadays is, and we talked about this with Reed Blankenship yesterday. He had a bad year. Then give him an opportunity to come back next year and have a better year. Why do we need to get rid of him? Why do we need to let him walk? Why do we need to release him or trade him or not re-sign him? Because he had a bad year? I get it. We're in the day and age of instant gratification and win now mentality and everything like that. But that's a problem. You see a lot of players that have a bad season with a team nowadays. They go to another team and they light it up. Devontae Adams had a crap season in New York last year, goes to LA this year and lights things up, breaks records. Okay? A lot of players go to different places and have better years. Bryce Huff in Philly didn't do much of anything. He goes to San Francisco. Had a hell of a year. Had a hell of a game.
Philly didn't use him right. Salah knew how to use him.
They didn't. And I 100% agree with that. They did not use him right and to his full advantage, and hats off to San Francisco for doing so. Okay? I'm going to say this right now. As a Philadelphia Eagles fan, do not get rid of A.J. Brown. Do not trade him. Do not release him. Give it a week. Let this stuff blow over. Let the coaches talk to him. Let other players talk to him. Give him his space. Give each other space. And then even a week, a month from now, reconnect, talk, figure something out. And if things can't be straightened out by week 7 of next year, then make that decision. But don't do it now. Don't do it now. Because I think it would be a drastic measured decision if they were to trade him, knowing that there's a possibility that he can come back next year with a different offensive coordinator and have a much better year because that offensive coordinator may put the ball in his hands. Something that Kevin Patullo didn't do for him much this year. So,
I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I want to piggyback off of what you were saying. I don't think you can really blame Patullo for Saquon. I mean, he gave Saquon touches. Saquon was 6th in the league of attempts. He had 280 attempts. Okay, I think teams just focused on shutting him down more. He only averaged 4.1 yards per carry. I think that's more on Saquon than the offensive coordinator. I mean, the guy had 280 carries. That's a lot of carries, and he just didn't take advantage of them.
I mean, there was also a slight depletion of the offensive line. Lane Johnson was gone for most of the year, tried to come back for this game and couldn't. But again, no excuses. We lost, and that's it. I'm happy. I am partially, you know what? I am kind of happy that we lost because we went into the playoffs as an 11-6 team that was in a division to where it was the most winnable division in football, probably. Maybe the second most winnable division. And, you know, I would have been a lot more upset losing this game if we were 13-4 or 14-3 than being 11-6. And I said this a month ago that if there was any team I was scared of going into the playoffs, it was the San Francisco 49ers. That was the team I was most scared of. So I kind of prepared myself for this. So in closing, good season. Let's move forward. Let's rethink things as fans and not jump so quickly to want to get rid of guys because we had a bad year. And let's see what moves we make next with our coaching staff before saying, send this player away. Because who knows, things might change. Thank you to the Philadelphia Eagles for a good season, and I'm looking forward to the 2026 season. And this is my closing to the Philadelphia Eagles 2025 NFL season. So thank you for giving me that floor for a minute. Let's continue. Jordan Addison, wide receiver of the Vikings, he was arrested in Tampa, Florida Monday morning. He was later released later on in the day on a $500 bond. He was arrested for trespassing. It was a trespassing on casino grounds. I'm not sure what it fully entailed. There wasn't much of the description of what fully happened, but he's out on bail. So I'm sure we'll find out more as the days go on and what happened with him.
He trespassed at a casino. Did he get thrown out and
He
then
might have.
try to just stay there? Like, how do you get? I don't understand that. That's weird.
So if you go into a private property place that's technically a public location and they trespass you, that means you cannot go back there. You have to leave immediately. And there's a chance he might have probably started an altercation after getting banned because he probably did something stupid. And, got arrested for it. You know, it probably wasn't too serious to the fact that he made bond, and it was only a $500 bond. So, you know, at least it wasn't like $1 million bond, so it couldn't have been that serious. But like I said, we'll probably find out more as the days go on. A couple injuries coming out of Sunday. Again, George Kittle, tight end of the 49ers, tore his Achilles. He's done for the year. Gabe Davis, wide receiver of the Bills, torn ACL. He's out for the season. Christian Gonzalez, defensive back of the New England Patriots. He is in concussion protocol and will possibly not play on Sunday against the Patriots. Matthew Stafford, he has a sprained thumb on his throwing hand, but he will be able to play against the Bears on Sunday. And Fred Warner, linebacker of the 49ers, his practice window opened. He got cleared. His 21-day clearance came at the middle of December, and now he's cleared. So there's a chance he may play against Seattle this weekend. John, any thoughts on Fred Warner coming back? And do you have any thoughts on George Kittle as a 49ers fan?
Please come back, Fred. The defense needs you. The preseason defense needs you. We need somebody in the middle of the field. Please help that secondary out. Upton Stout can't do everything by himself. And as far as Kittle goes, that's a huge loss, man. That's a huge loss. We don't have many starters left on the offense. So oh boy, that's not what we want going into Seattle.
It's a huge hit to that offense because George Kittle is a very big piece of that offense.
Yes, he is.
But I'm going to say this right now. Tongas came in and he really did his job. He came in and did his job on Sunday. And I have no doubt that he's going to come in on again on Saturday and do what he needs to do to help elevate that team and that offense. I have a good feeling that he's going to come in and like I said to you before, that George Kittle's shoes isn't shoes that can ever be filled because he is a one of a kind, player, one of a kind tight end, one of a kind just human being. He's not replaceable. His shoes can't be filled. It's just a spot that needs to be inserted because he's not there. And Tongas is inserting himself into there, and he's doing a good job. So hats off to him.
Well, Philly tried their best by taking out Kittle, but it still didn't happen.
Last bit of news, Matt LaFleur, head coach of the Green Bay Packers. There have been rumors of the fact that he might get fired from Green Bay. That's false. That's false.
After that performance, he needs to.
It was announced that the front office is actually working on an extension with him.
They're not going to go anywhere with him. They need to move on.
Well, Jordan Love, he advocated very heavily for Matt LaFleur. So I guess the advocation for Matt LaFleur being the head coach worked because they're now possibly going to be working on an extension for him. Just crazy. And yeah. I'm with you. I have a feeling they're not going to go anywhere with him. This is the third year they were the 7th seed.
Yeah, exactly. They're not going anywhere with them.
They
have a loaded offense, a ton of young receivers.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs, a good but not great quarterback.
Yeah.
Better than average, good but not, in between good and great, whatever the middle tier is. But they're not going anywhere. Michael Parsons and the defense isn't bad, but it's the coaching. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see if Green Bay makes the decision to actually get the extension done. We'll have to see what happens.
In fact, the only reason they made the playoffs was probably because of that tie with Dallas.
That's it. And hopefully that's one thing that gets talked about in the winter meetings and the spring meetings is, getting rid of ties.
I'm the Lions. I'm pissed about that,
Yeah, if I was the Lions and the Vikings, because they both finished with the same record.
Yeah, you're right.
So if you go in there and you work out the point differentials and all the stuff that goes into figuring out who makes the playoffs, there's a chance one of those are in there instead of Green Bay.
There should be no ties.
There shouldn't be.
Do away with that.
I agree.
I've been saying that for years.
How I thought about it was if you go into overtime, instead of having a full quarter of play, do it college style with no time limit. And instead of starting at the 25, the offense starts at like the 35 or the 40. You get 3 first downs. And then once you're at the 10-yard line, you're inside the goal line. And that's where you got to score. And if you score, great. The other offense get a shot. If you don't score, the other offense still gets a shot. But if the other offense scores and you don't, they win. Do it college style, but start the ball at like the 40 opposed to the 25. And just do it that way.
I don't have a problem with that.
Have a winner. Stop this tie crap. Because it's not helping anything. Green Bay probably should not have been the 7th seed this year. So we'll just see what comes from the winter meetings. That's something that we will definitely be covering here on the Huddle Hub podcast as we get into the offseason. John, let's get into the college football playoffs. Semifinal scores, the Miami Hurricanes defeated Ole Miss 31-27 in the Fiesta Bowl, and number 1 Indiana defeated Oregon 56-22 in the Peach Bowl. We now have Miami taking on Indiana in the national championship on Monday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time out in Miami Gardens, Florida. John, number one, your thoughts on this semifinal matchups, man. Did you expect Oregon to go out there and get whooped on as much as they did?
Not at all. I expected Oregon to lose, but I didn't expect it to be by 34 points.
Yeah.
I mean, what the heck? I could not believe that. Like, I don't know what happened. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't see the game. It's crazy to me. Like, I expected Miami to win.
Yeah.
But I expected Indiana to win. But I did not expect Indiana to win that high. I'll tell you that much.
I mean, Ole Miss, I think, surprised a lot of people by deep running, especially after Lane Kiffin leaving. but their road had to have ended somewhere. There was no way they were making it to the national title game. But Oregon, that nice young offense that was that controlled pretty much every game this year that they ran down their schedule with, just went out and just, and now, and the internet, the internet, wranglers, they go out and try and find videos to see if anybody was doing anything that they shouldn't have been doing. There's a video out there right now of Mendoza using some type of spray on his hands to help with gripping the ball and stuff, and that it should be looked into. And it's like, you don't know what that spray is. It could be just,
he's using tar like in baseball.
like that could be just something to keep his hands moist because they're playing. I mean, where was the Peach Bowl? The Peach Bowl was in Georgia. It's dry air down there. Could have just been keeping his hands moist, like lotion, like liquid lotion or something. Who knows? But it's just like, we have to dig deep and pick apart. Like, come on now.
Fans have to find a reason why their team lost, an excuse. They just can't be like, we didn't show up and they did.
Yes, whatever. Your team didn't show up.
Some fans can't handle losing.
No. And that's the other thing too, is I'm seeing videos and not to backtrack here, but like seeing the videos of Eagles fans, re-watching parts of the game and things. It's like, it's over. Let it go. It's done. Let it go. Nothing you can do by re-watching something and saying, this should have been this or that is going to change the outcome. It is done. Let it go. Move on.
Agree.
Like, move on. Seriously. But John, we gotta preview the national title game, John. So let's do this thing right. Let's do it right real quick before we get into the Huddies, because we got the Huddies to do. We got 11 categories tonight, and let's get into it. So, John, we got number 10 Miami heading in to the national championship game to take on number 1 Indiana. Miami is playing at home in the national championship game, the first team to ever do so in the college football playoff era. John, what do you got on Miami and Indiana in the national title game?
First off, I hope Miami put to bed that myth that they can't score points. I mean, they put up 31 on Ole Miss, so there goes that myth that, Miami's all defense. They can't score points. Well, they can win a shootout if you needed to. And I feel like Indiana is heavily favored in this match. I feel like people aren't taking I almost said Notre Dame, Miami seriously. And I don't know. Vegas has Indiana favored by a good amount. But I don't know. I don't see it. Indiana's undefeated. That's great. I'm happy for them. But defense wins championships. And I have been high on the Miami defense all season long. And I'm going to continue to ride on Miami's defense. I'm going to continue to ride the running back. Miami's running back, Mark Fletcher Jr., had a heck of a game against Oregon. Carson Beck, people call him a game manager. No, he's more than a game manager, and he proved that last weekend. Or was it or the end of last week, not the weekend. But I think Miami's defense is going to hold strong, and I'm still riding that hurricane wave. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to jump on the bandwagon of Miami. I am. I'm going to have to jump on the bandwagon of Miami and say that I think Miami becomes the first team in the college football playoff era to win a national title at home.
They're at home.
Yeah, I mean,
the students are going to be there. They're at home.
Defenses win championships. You're not wrong on that. And you know me, I'm more of a defensive guy. Even when we play video games, I love playing defense opposed to the offensive side of the ball. Miami's got to go out and raise that national title. It's fitting for them to go do so, especially with being at home. You have the momentum. You have home field advantage. You have your crowd. And yeah, Indiana fans may travel and may be there, But I think Miami is going to have a hold on this game, and I think Miami shuts down the Hoosiers and wins the national championship. So I'm riding the wave of the Hurricane.
I don't think they shut them down. I think it's going to be – I could see it being a shootout, but I don't think they're going to get completely shut down. But I think in the end, Miami's defense is going to pull out the stops.
Yeah. We'll definitely have to find out and see what happens in the national title game next Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And me and John will be back on Tuesday to recap the national championship game between Indiana and Miami and close out the college football season. Crazy how we just sat here and said close out the college football season. It's crazy. So I got to switch banner things now because I set up a whole new banner thing because I'm going to try something tonight. Because it is that time, John. It is time for the first annual Huddies. Okay?
The Huddies.
Now I'm going to try something here. What I'm going to try is I'm trying to
Iron Man is my unofficial Huddy.
I'm going to try and keep up with the ticker down below on after each time we make a pick, putting our picks up on the board here. That way it's there for us to see as we go through the categories. Okay, we have 11 categories tonight, and I feel like that might actually be a hard thing to do. So I'm not going to do that. I feel like that's going to be a tough thing to do.
That's gonna take time away from the show.
No, I kind of planned on how I was going to do it. So after you make your pick, as you're talking about why you made that pick, I could just go into the other thing that I have set up and type it in and bring it up. But then it's going to take a lot. So we'll just have the categories rolling down on the bottom there as we go along. So we are going to start off with number 11, John, and that is your game of the year.
All right. My Huddy for the game of the year goes to the Week 17 matchup between the Chicago Bears and the San Francisco 49ers. That thrilling 38-42 shootout. There were 6 lead changes. Brock Purdy was on point, 303 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 of them on the ground. Caleb Williams, 330 yards, 2 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey had 140 yards and a touchdown. Bears rookie receiver Luther Burden III had 138 yards and a touchdown. There was no defense in that game. It was all offense, and I'm okay with that. So Bears, Niners, Week 17, you get my Huddy.
Yeah, my game of the year is the 49ers Bears Week 17 Sunday Night Football. It was the best game of the year, and it was the best Sunday Night Football game of the year. It was probably the best Sunday Night Football game in a very long time. Very, very long time. Now, some might argue because I have seen, as you know, John, I do listen to other podcasts and I do listen to other shows and stuff like that, just for entertainment purposes and stuff like that. And some are saying that if they had to give a Game of the Year award, they would give it to the Ravens and Steelers in Week 18. It was a good game. It came down to the end, the field goal kick, everything like that. But there was not a lot of excitement in that game like there was the Bears 49ers. I mean, that game kept you on the edge of your seat, whether you were a Bears fan, whether you were a Niners fan, or you were just a fan of football watching a good football game. In my case, edge of my seat because I'm a fan of football, and it was a great game to watch, and I'm so happy that I made the decision because I didn't watch every Sunday nighter this year. I didn't. There was a few that I skipped out on. I watched most of them, I will say, and this is one that I made sure I did not miss, and I'm glad I did not. So my game of the year goes to the Bears and the 49ers in Week 17 on Sunday Night Football as well. John, who is your most disappointing team of the year?
My Huddy for the most disappointing team of the year goes to the Kansas City Chiefs. In 2024, 15-2, first place in the AFC West, and they made it all the way to the Super Bowl. Fast forward to this year, 6-11, and third place in the West. They had a 9-game differential in the wrong direction. The Kansas City Chiefs get my most disappointing team, Huddy.
So I have a disappointing team, but I also have an honorable mention, okay, because I couldn't decide between these two teams. My main one is the Lions, going from 15-2 home field advantage, making it to the playoffs last year, winning their division. All hope in Detroit to go to the Super Bowl, only to lose to the Commanders. And then that bad luck kind of stayed on their side, finishing 9-8 this year. Kind of disappointing because of their expectations. My honorable mention is the Atlanta Falcons, because that team is built for success. What is going on in Atlanta that they cannot get things rolling? Because that team is built, ready to go. Whatever head coach gets that job and goes in there is lucky, because they don't have to do much to get that team prepared. They just need to go in and fix whatever the hell the problem is in Atlanta. So Atlanta is my honorable mention, but Detroit is my most disappointing team of the year. John, with that being said, who is your most improved team in 2025?
All right. My most improved team, Huddy, goes to the New England Patriots. They were 4-13 last year and in last place in the AFC East. And they completely flipped it. 14-3 this year, first place in the East, the number 2 seed in the playoffs, advancing to the division round. One heck of a turnaround for Kansas City. That's a 10-game differential in the right direction. So, New England Patriots, you are my most improved team of 2025.
My most improved team is the Jacksonville Jaguars, going from 4-13 in 2024 to 13-4 in 2025. Now, John, I was thinking about the New England Patriots too, but then I went and looked at the comparisons and the schedule and what Jacksonville faced opposed to what New England faced. Jacksonville faced 5 or 6 more playoff teams in 2025 than the Patriots did. Jacksonville had a slightly more difficult schedule than New England did, and that's why I sided with Jacksonville over New England. If I had to give an honorable mention, it would be New England, because they turned it around as well. You're not wrong on that. They had a great season, a great turnaround, well-deserved to them, but I had to pick Jacksonville on this one. I had to, because I talked a lot of crap about the Jaguars in the offseason, and they deserve some praise from me. They do, because of the fact they did what they did this season.
You
Even a first round
motivated
ball.
them.
Yeah, I probably
They
did.
watched this show.
That would be awesome.
Motivated them.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. If we end the show today and I get a message from Jacksonville saying, you know what, thank you. You know, I'll take a signed helmet from any player. Doesn't have to be a big time player, just any player. I don't care. I'll just take a helmet so I could throw it on the mantle over here. You know, doesn't even have to be signed. I showed some praise to Liam Cohen earlier. Just saying. A mini helmet even. I'll take the mini helmet. I'm thinking about doing a mini helmet collection. I am. I'm thinking about it. It's on the mind, because the mini belt collection is not turning out the way I wanted it to. And I'm glad I didn't get too deep on that. So thinking about the mini helmet, I think that one might be a little more acceptable in a collection. So, John, who is your most disappointing player in 2025?
Okay, my Huddy for the most disappointing player of 2025 goes to Minnesota Vikings quarterback JJ McCarthy. He didn't play the year. He didn't play at all last year, and he's only played 10 games this year. He's very injury prone, and when he did play, he was average at best, a 57.6 completion percentage. 11 touchdowns with 11 touchdowns with 12 interceptions and a quarterback rating of 72.6. This is not the quarterback that the Minnesota Vikings thought they would get when they drafted, and the quarterback that Vikings fans wanted. That's why JJ McCarthy, you get my Huddy for most disappointing player of 2025.
All right. My most disappointing player, John, I talked to you about this one yesterday, and I had to get your opinion on this, whether I could pick this player or not, because this player didn't see the field. Now, the expectations were there. He fought for a contract. He got the contract. He got everything he wanted, even though the team didn't want to realistically give it to him. But in order for him to stay where he wanted to stay, where they wanted him to stay, they gave it to him. They said, here you go. Now, the good thing is this team is getting back their $35 million bonus because the guy didn't touch the field. And that is one Brandon Ayuk of soon to be formerly San Francisco 49ers wide receiver. Again, just the high expectations with the contract dispute, couldn't get on the field. There was talks back in week 7, week 8 of, there's a chance he might get on the field by week 10, week 11, and just nothing ever came of it. So Brandon Ayuk, you are my most disappointing player of the year. And I was going to pick a player that did touch the field, but I just couldn't bring myself to picking 2 players. I had to go with Brandon Ayuk. So, John, with that being said, who's your most improved player in 2025?
My most improved player, Huddy, goes to Detroit Lions linebacker Al-Quaiden Muhammad. Last season, he only had 11 tackles and 3 sacks. This season, improved both numbers, bumped his tackles up to 25, and he had 11 sacks. So 8 more sacks for him this year. He didn't get many tackles, but when he did, almost half of them were sacks. So Al-Quaiden Muhammad, you're my most improved player.
All right. My most improved player, of course, I've talked about them a lot today in this show. That's Trevor Lawrence of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You go back and look at his statistics back in 2025, had 2,045 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He raised his yards by almost over 2,000. He had 4,007 yards this season with 29 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Trevor Lawrence is my most improved player in 2025. Again, have to show the praise to them because there was some – Jacksonville needs to realize they had a very big turnaround this year, a lot more than they think they had. And it's looking very bright for Jacksonville. I don't want to speak too early, but it's been looking a little bright there in Jacksonville where the sun shines most of the day. So be happy, Jacksonville, even though you guys lost this week. Don't be too down on yourselves. John, let's get into the top 6 awards here, the big ones now. And we're going to start off with Coach of the Year. John, who is your Coach of the Year?
My Huddy for Coach of the Year goes to San Francisco 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan. In 2024, the Niners were 6-11. Flip the script to this year. They went 12-5, and they did this with 23 players hurt. That's a full squad of offense and defense plus 1. So Kyle Shanahan making the most with the least. He gets my Huddy for Coach of the Year.
My Coach of the Year goes to head coach of the Chicago Bears, Ben Johnson. I mean, going in there and taking a team that finished 5-12 last year, and their coach being fired after Thanksgiving, literally Thanksgiving night, got fired after they got off the field and didn't know what was expecting them, like what was ahead of them coming into 2025. Insert Ben Johnson, who had a hell of a career as an offensive coordinator out in Detroit, turned that team around. And the thought of him going in and turning a team around in year 1, there was expectation there, but you really couldn't hold the accountability because of being a year 1 head coach, a new team, Caleb Williams going into his 2nd year, Luther Burden being a young receiver. You know, that's a very young Chicago football team. So the youth factor was kind of like, is Chicago going to be real this year? Or are we going to see like a 9-8 Chicago team? Slightly better improvement, and then 2026 we'll start seeing them sneak into the playoffs, maybe win a division, whatnot. No, they went in and they took over their division. They went in, won the NFC North, and they are now sitting in the divisional round of the playoffs after that big win against Green Bay on Saturday night. So, Ben Johnson, you are my coach of the year. John, your defensive rookie of the year. Who's your defensive rookie of the year?
My Huddy for defensive rookie of the year goes to Cleveland Browns linebacker Carson Schlesinger. He had 156 tackles, 2.5 sacks, and 2 interceptions. I feel like just his tackles alone, he went above and beyond of what you expect from a rookie. That's why Carson Schlesinger gets my Huddy for defensive rookie of the year.
Yep. 58 solo tackles, 83 assisted, 141 total with 2.5 sacks. Carson Schlesinger is also my defensive rookie of the year. John, your offensive rookie of the year. Who do you got?
Offensive rookie of the year, my Huddy goes to, and I have been very high on him since he played for Arizona, Panthers wide receiver Terrio McMullen, 70 catches. He led all rookie receivers in receiving yards with 1,014, and also led all rookie receivers in touchdowns with 7. Tet McMillan, you are my offensive rookie of the year.
70 catches, 1,014 yards, 7 touchdowns. Tet McMillan is also my offensive rookie of the year. John, the big three. Here it comes. We're going to start off with defensive player of the year. Who do you got?
All right. There's only one player that could get my defensive rookie of the year Huddy, and that is Cleveland Browns defensive end Myles Garrett, 60 tackles, a record 23 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles. You earned it, Myles Garrett. You are my defensive player of the year.
Myles Garrett is also my defensive player of the year. Again, he's earned the season sack leader. Basically, you look at the Cleveland Browns and you look at that defense. Carson Schlesinger could be the defensive rookie of the year. He can also possibly win just rookie of the year because they do offense, they do defense, and they do rookie of the year. There's a chance he runs for that. But then you add in Myles Garrett, the 30-year-old defensive end, who is just got a big contract to re-sign with Cleveland for the next 3 years. He is hungry for that team to even just win a division championship and go into the playoffs and go deep and possibly, hopefully, raise the Lombardi. Now, I know that's wishful thinking for the Cleveland Browns, but when you sit back and think about it, they are an offensive configuration away from possibly becoming a team that could take over the AFC North. And that could start with whatever head coach they bring in to change the scheme, what players they're going to bring in off the draft and off of free agency to come in and better that offense, because that Cleveland Browns defense is ready. The offense needs to catch up. And that's led by Myles Garrett. That's a dangerous team if they get that offense figured out. I can see it. And you wouldn't think to put those words in the same sentence as Cleveland Browns, but that team is well overdue for even a division championship. So, yeah, Myles Garrett's mine as well. John, who is your offensive player of the year?
All right, my Huddy for offensive player of the year goes out to, it went to a running back last year in Saquon Barkley, and it's going to a running back this year. San Francisco 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey. He had, hold on. He had 2,126 all-purpose yards. 1,202 came on the ground. 924 came through the air. And 17 all-purpose touchdowns with 10 on the ground and 7 in the air. He is the reason that the 49ers are where they are now. I don't think there has been one player that has meant more to their team this year than Christian McCaffrey has to the 49ers. Thank goodness he didn't get hurt this year. Run CMC, you are my offensive player of the year.
See, now I might be able to challenge you on that statement when it comes to a position player other than a quarterback to be accounted for on their team. I might be able to challenge you on that because my offensive player of the year is running back of the Buffalo Bills, James Cook, 309 carries, 1,621 yards, and 12 touchdowns. When you watch Buffalo's offense and Josh Allen put the ball in the air, he didn't do a bad job. There was very many times where receivers would miss catches, would miss passes. And at times you thought, Buffalo, are they falling apart? What's going on? But you knew when the ball went in James Cook's hands, you didn't have to worry because you know he was getting you, whether it was 2, 3, 5, 10, 60 yards. James Cook was a very reliable running back. Yes, he didn't go out of the backfield as much and catch and grab those all-purpose yards like Christian McCaffrey did. But I think you can hold James Cook to somewhat of the same standards as Christian McCaffrey because he was very much, counted on in Buffalo this year to get them to where they needed to be, and that was to get into the postseason. So that is why James Cook is my offensive player of the year. John, last one. Final award to give here in 2025. Who's your MVP?
There we go. In fact, you know what? I am going to do this. My Huddie for 2025 MVP, and I did not expect to be saying this when the season started, is New England Patriots second-year quarterback, Drake May. He had 4,394 passing yards, 31 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and he led the league in quarterback rating with 113.5. He took one of the biggest step forwards that a rookie could take in their second year, and that's why Drake May is my MVP.
My MVP is his MVP counterpart in the NFL, and that is one Matthew Stafford. Now, I gave this a little bit of thought, John, because I thought, he had a lot of little 1-yard dump-off passes to Devontae Adams touchdowns, maybe about 15 of them this year, accounted for the 46 touchdown passes he threw. Okay? He only threw 8 interceptions. He was 388 of 597 for 4,707 yards. This is his 10th year throwing for 4,000 yards. Whether Drake May or Matthew Stafford gets it in real life, I mean, if they can have co-MVPs, which I'm sure they can, these two might end up getting it. Drake May deserves it. It has happened before, I believe, with Steve McNair and who else? Somebody else won it with him, I believe. Who won co-MVP? Trying to think. I know Steve McNair, I think, was one half. I believe I'm right on this. Who won co-MVP in the NFL?
I'm trying to think too.
Brett Favre and Barry Sanders did it in 1997.
It was Peyton Manning and Steve
McNair in 2003. So I was right on half of it, and I was thinking Peyton Manning, but I didn't want to say
they
Peyton.
did co-MVPs before. That's why I was like, it's possible.
So if we can have co-MVP-ship between these two this year, it's much well-deserved because these two gentlemen have had a hell of a year. And again, I was very skeptical on the whole little 1-yard dump-off passes to Devontae Adams because, again, there was about 15 of them. But I don't care. They're touchdown passes. They're accounted for. They're there. They put points on the board. So Matthew Stafford is my MVP this year. It hurts to kind of say it, too, because I'm not going to lie. I'm not the biggest Matthew Stafford fan, but I got to be fair. I can't take it away from him. I can't. So that's it, John. That's it for the Huddies, man. The first annual Huddle Hub Awards. I should probably take down the banner. Should probably do that. I made 2 separate banner things again because I wanted to try something different, and it just didn't work to my to what I wanted to do. And it's okay though. We could delete this folder, and we can go back to our normal folder. There we go. All right, John. Well, with that being said, that's it, and that's it for the show. 60 minutes in and out. Again, I will be back on Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, to get you guys ready for the Saturday games coming up in the divisional round of the playoffs. And then me and Cam will be back on Sunday to get you guys ready for the final 2 games of the divisional round. Make sure you're heading over to the Huddle Hub Podcast over on TikTok and on X at the Huddle Hub Pod. You're going to hit the follow button. Over on YouTube, you're going to hit the subscribe button. And if you're on the Twitch channel, all the links to all of our social medias are in the bio. Please make sure you're heading over and hitting that follow button, helping us build the Huddle Hub Podcast through the rest of the NFL playoffs and beyond. John, your social medias are on the bottom. Again, I know you're a very busy man. Do you have anything going on social media that you need to let people know?
Really not right now. Still getting used to the new work schedule. So not yet. I'll keep everybody updated when I have things going on, but it's kind of a downtime right now for my content and social media stuff.
All right, sounds good. But still go over and follow John on social media, because once he gets things up and going again, you're going to want to go catch his lives over on Twitch, and you can go catch all his recorded content right now on the YouTube. You can also catch all the recorded content that he has done over on the Huddle Hub Podcast YouTube channel for all of our video game stuff that we do in college football and on Madden. So please go check that out. We'd be greatly appreciated. And Instagram, X, TikTok, Snapchat, MetalBike714 is where you can find me. Again, I don't do much on social media. You can catch me live on TikTok every once in a while playing some Fortnite. Other than that, all my content creating is done on the shows here every Tuesday and normally every Sunday. But this is the final week for the Saturday show because next week is the conference title games. So we'll be back to normal schedule come next week. There are some plans in the works for the Honors Awards. I normally do a watch along. I've done the watch along the past 2 years for the Honors Awards on my personal. Now we're here on the Huddle Hub Podcast. Probably going to be converting it over here. Just haven't decided a destination yet for a watch along for the Honors Awards. But I do my Road to Glory lives here on the Huddle Hub Podcast, Twitch, and YouTube. So if you want to come join me for that, I was thinking about doing a live tonight. I might. If not, definitely tomorrow I will be doing one. With that being said, thank you everybody for coming out and checking out the show. If you checked out the recording, thank you so much. Be good to each other, be kind to each other, take care of each other, be patient with each other. Remember, the world is not moving as fast as you think. Until Saturday, see you guys later. Deuces.
Bye.